We bought a circular, so it's a C shape with an umbrella and a table that can convert to a fire pit with the glass.
Oh, cool.
Oh, see, I
You
like
know,
that.
We got all of that. The price for it was like $6,000,
Wow.
including sales tax and everything else. And I know from looking at Pottery Barn and Crate and Barrel and others, you can pay $6,000 just for the chairs alone.
Well, as I say, over
And
at
you don't get the
Patio World,
umbrella and the
it's
table.
$6,000,
So,
$6,000.
and there were some end tables too. So it's end tables. So it's the whole. So now we get, so they deliver it and it's like ready to use.
I
We
love it.
just throw some indoor outdoor carpeting underneath, and we've got a nice
Nice.
little
Excellent.
outdoor living area. And,
Patty, your email is, I think I found a good agent. Another agent told me of a much
He
higher
sucks.
price.
Good. That's a great
It's awesome.
question.
Oh yeah. Well,
Because-
this guy said he could get me more.
Yeah, you never want to pick an agent based on that.
That's a great question.
Yeah,
Very clever.
Okay.
good question.
And then I've got some good stuff for us as a
Good.
group to talk about with you particularly, because it's all I saved all my market related stuff, not mortgages or anything else. So I've got oh, okay. So I don't know what you brought.
Well, I've been looking really carefully at like what's going on because the market is changing,
Oh, good.
and I think we can
That's part of it.
definitively say the peak is over. We're entering a normal market. I looked at what first half of last year versus this year, and looked at the dicey numbers and all that, and yeah, and the
Well, here, let's look.
how everything's changing. It's really changing.
Okay.
Are y'all ready?
Yes.
Y'all is ready.
Y'all ready. Okay.
So you can start,
Okay.
Patty, and then I'll dovetail into several articles I have to support what we'll be talking about, which
Okay.
is basically that topic for the
Okay.
better
Go
part
ahead.
of the show.
Let's do it. Here we go. You get yours.
Oh, do I have the right one?
Testing.
Actually, this
One,
is
two,
the headset
three.
for that one.
Okay, cool. Wait a minute. I like white better. It looks better on me.
Well, we'll get to number 4 next time. Okay.
Okay.
Here we go. Welcome. You're listening to The Best of Investing on Talk 910. I'm your host, Edward Brown, and I'm proud to have as my co-host Mark Humph of Pacific Private Money, one of California's fastest growing mortgage investment firms, and Patty Cohn of Pacific Union International. Our phone number is 888-912-1190. Use that number to answer the trivia questions for 3 vacations given away during this show. And those vacations are not sponsored by the radio station, but by Lighthouse Resort and Marina, located about 1 hour northeast of San Francisco. Those vacations are free. Their only request, a $100 cleaning fee to cover the housekeeping expenses. Today's trivia theme is miscellaneous trivia. We got a lot of stuff to cover, so Patty, take it away.
Oh, okay. Well, this is a really interesting market, and for 4 years we've been saying, we don't have enough inventory, and prices are going up, and very exciting, and it did do that for 4 years straight. And I think it's safe to say now that the peak is over.
Okay.
Now,
Or that
that's
maybe we're at the
okay.
peak.
Maybe at the peak. Maybe at the peak. It sort of depends on how realtors are pricing now. Instead of a property at $750 that's going to go for $1.4 million, they're going to price it at $1.2 million, where it should be.
And not to do like what San Francisco does, trying to
Yeah.
get everyone to bid up.
Yeah, so everything's changing a bit, and that is the beginning of what is becoming a normal market. And it's very hard to put your arms around it because you still have sellers pricing on the trajectory of it going up chunks every month, and then you have, it's a strange market. So it looks like there might be price decreases, but it's just sellers pricing at the wrong trajectory. So it's really interesting. I looked at numbers year to year, what's going on with international buyers, what's going on. What I find really interesting is first-time buyers are exactly the same almost as repeat buyers.
From the standpoint of
And the
numbers.
percentage of sales.
Gotcha.
Percentage of sales. Now, that also means that tied in, 20% of sales are cash buyers. And cash is king, and really cash investors and just people with cash are pricing out people are getting priced out, and really more than I've ever
And
seen.
that's why they should use Pacific Private Money, because then they can actually come in with an all-cash
That's
offer.
true. They
You gotta
really
go, you gotta
should.
go the hard money lender route in
Yeah.
some of these prices.
They really
pay a little
should.
bit more, get the house you want at a reasonable price, and you can always refinance later on.
They can refinance later on because it's really, really quite sad when you have just your basic. These are residential homes. It's the American dream to buy a home and in the cul-de-sac with the picket fence, and that dream is going, at least in the Bay Area.
So let's talk a little bit about that, Patty. So here in the Bay Area, homeowners have been enjoying anywhere from 0.5% to a full percent appreciation every month. So we're talking year over year for the last
4
4
years.
years,
Yeah.
double-digit price appreciation. And you just mentioned that we've gotten to a point where home prices in many neighborhoods and many markets in the Bay Area have gotten so high that they've finally gotten to the point where they've priced enough of the market out of the marketplace that they're just not seeing the offers that they were seeing before?
It depends. We have to look at different segments of the market. For example, the luxury market. Well, 2 to 3 million is, luxury market is suffering is the wrong word. It's still very strong.
That's a starter home in Los Gatos.
Exactly.
Yes, it is.
So 2 to 3 million or 2 to 4 million isn't even the luxury market. That's very
it's
strong. But over 4 million, that's where we're not seeing those crazy numbers like 20 million, 30 million, 18 million. And it's still happening. Like this is what we're talking about is really cutting edge and being in the fishbowl and actually living it and seeing it. It won't be really reported on for like 3 months, but it's changing.
How many of those $20 million houses are even out there? That they come
More
up
than I've ever seen percentage-wise.
Wow.
I mean, adjusting for
I'll
inflation
sell my
and
house
all
for $20 million. It's
Well,
not worth it. But
Well, you're right, Patty, about the top of the market, because this is an excerpt from an article I had from last week. Silicon Valley, the most expensive U.S. housing market, is seeing a pullback by the wealthiest home buyers after a 4-year, as you said, real estate boom marked by bidding wars and multi-million-dollar prices. They blame it on stock market turmoil, a drop in foreign investors, and concerns of a technology industry slowdown as reasons for the cooling demand at the high end, even as interest remains robust for more moderately priced properties.
Yes, and that's exactly what's happening. And part of what's happening with the global markets and the Chinese economy is that San Francisco Bay Area is the prime destination for Chinese buyers.
because they have the largest destination or the largest population of Chinese people outside of China.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes. I mean, and what we're also seeing is neighborhoods changing everywhere. I mean, there was just a sale in Tiburon for $13 million. It was all cash. It closed in a week, and the buyer hasn't even showed up yet. And they might have not ever. Maybe they use it. They're parking. People are parking money.
All right, I thought you were going to say
They're
going
gonna
for
Park
parking
in their
parking
car.
space.
We just want to need someplace to park our car. It's
Yeah.
$13 million.
It's a lot of money to park. I mean, those
Yeah.
closets must be full. But anyway, so yeah, the market is changing, and it's kind of kind of sad in a way that the Bay Area little towns, the constitution of them is changing. There are people parking money and just never second homes. There are the first-time buyers wanting to start families getting priced out. So the whole flavor of some of the communities are changing. Airbnb, for sure, that's another thing.
Well, that's been a complaint. In fact, in San Francisco, many articles in the Chronicle all year long have complained about the gentrification of certain neighborhoods. Well, that gentrification effect has actually been in neighborhoods throughout the Bay Area, not just San Francisco.
Yeah, and I mean, and another thing, for example, in April, the San Francisco, or excuse me, California, was responsible for much of the growth, the job growth. What was it? Since 2008. Yeah, California. One third of the job growth in April was in California. So we're still strong, but it's changing. It's a changing market now. This is not an alarm. This is a good thing.
Right, that's important to talk about.
Yeah, because
Doesn't mean we're on the precipice of a real estate crash or correction necessarily. It just means that maybe we're seeing the top end of the market, and maybe we're going to see some of those trailing indicators that continue to tell us that real estate in the Bay Area is appreciating year over year in double digits. Maybe we're going to start seeing that. Maybe the reality of it is that's going to slow down, stop, and potentially decline, but not necessarily decline.
Yeah, I mean, I did start out, and it sounded alarming, like the peak is behind us, but that does not mean
It's been a
it's
crash.
going down. It just means
Not gonna go
a
on this
normal
one.
market.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay. We're going to cut to a quick commercial break here. Before we do, we got something kind of special here. So the Weingarten Children, it's a charity. This is the center where if imagine your child cannot hear or speak. What do? Where do you go? You check out the Weingarten Children's Center, and you Google them, you'll find them. But here's the deal. They are giving us 10 extra tickets to give away for an awesome golf tournament.
Ooh.
Just for our show. Okay, I mean, not
Wow.
golf tournament's not for our show, but I mean,
Yeah.
they're giving the tickets to us specifically so that we can have people show up. And the cool thing is, this includes like lunch and dinner and cocktails and a free round of golf. These tickets are worth $350 a piece,
Wow.
and we get to give 10 of them away for free.
Wow. 3,500.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to ask a question right now, and you got to call our 888-912-1190 to answer the question correctly. And the first 10 people who answer it correctly will get these 10 tickets. Get a free ticket. All right. So when you're looking at a road and you see a blue reflector light on the road, as compared to the red or orange ones, the reflector lights, when you see a blue one on the road, what does that mean? All right. So call 888-912-1190 to answer that question. And again, the first 10 people, we're going to give away these golf certificates. Okay, so now we're going to cut to our regular commercial break trivia question here. What color was Oscar the Grouch on Sesame Street before Jim Henson decided to make him green? Now, the first caller to answer that question is going to win a free 3-day, 2-night stay at the Lighthouse Resort. Call 888-912-1190 to answer that question. And don't touch that dial, because the Best of Investing will be right back. And don't forget to call in for those golf certificates. Okay.
I think people are going to be Googling for those tickets. Where do they need to, where is it?
I should have said that.
I know, I didn't want to interrupt you.
Yeah, it's okay.
Yeah.
I will come back and say that. It's in the Peninsula Golf and Country Club. It's really supposedly a very nice course, a very nice clubhouse, and all that shit.
Now, is it a tournament, or do they
Yeah,
get to go
it's
anytime? Okay, that's cool.
Yeah. Let me see here.
So did he forget? I wasn't even. I was only kind of half paying attention. Did he not mention where it was? Is that
I did.
Oh, okay.
That's not so smart.
golf ticket?
So I
That's
got
all
to mention where it is, and I got to say when it is.
When, yeah. And that, you don't just randomly show up. It's a tournament.
It's a tournament,
You
yeah.
participate. Yeah, that's good.
Okay.
Because I started to get interesting. I'm like, those people are
Yeah.
go. But when and where?
All right. Okay.
Next time, it's okay if I go, where is it, by the way?
Yeah, of course.
Okay.
Of course. Okay, here we go. Let me help.
Yeah.
Welcome back to the Best of Investing. Edward Brown here, along with Patti Cohen and Mark on. Now, when we cut to the break, you reminded me, gee, I forgot a few details. First of all, it's a golf tournament. Also, it's being held on June 6th, which is a Monday, so you're going to have to take the day off because it's an all-day event.
Darn.
And it's being held at the Peninsula Golf and Country Club in San Mateo, which apparently is a very nice course. So again, I'm going to read that question one more time in case people now say, oh, now I want to go.
right.
All right. The question is, when you see a blue reflector light on the roadway, what does that indicate? All right. And you have to call our 888-912-1190. The first 10 people are going to get those free tickets. Okay. One ticket per person. There we go. Okay, so now here was the regular trivia question we asked. What color was Oscar the Grouch on Sesame Street before Jim Henson decided to make him green?
Is he blue?
No.
Orange?
Yes.
Oh.
He was orange, just like Elmo.
Can't be the same color as Elmo.
All right.
So Patty, I got a question for you about what we were talking about last time about the indicators, from the front lines, basically, which is really where you're at as a leading listing broker in the Bay Area. That prices are maybe indicating that demand is slowing down, prices may be peaking, and maybe we're starting to see a real change in the marketplace here. I've got like 3 articles here, and 2 of them say one thing and 1 of them say another, which is typical of what you read in the papers. The market's up, the market's down, the real estate's strong, real estate's not strong. So, and we talked over the last couple of weeks about how in many markets the spring buying season has been a disappointment. So here's 2 leading sentences from 2 different articles. Here's the first one. As the spring home buying season struggles to lift off, people point to tight credit as possibly one reason to blame. Here's another leading sentence in another article. What's presumed to be the hottest buying season of the year isn't shaping up to that due to a flurry of factors that are growing into a perfect storm to hinder the housing market. That was from last week. And then just a couple of days ago in the Chronicle, I read an article that says Americans ramped up their purchases of new homes in April to the highest level since 2008, evidence of a strong start to the spring buying season. So what is it? Is it a strong buying season or is it a weak buying season?
It is
Yeah.
both.
It's a good question. Well, and because this goes to the Bay Area, let's talk about the Bay Area.
Sure.
We don't have new houses. So if you're in like the Midwest in some tract home and, 30% of the sales are going to be new homes, you're going to really pay attention to them. But we don't really pay attention to new homes. So that might be the new home builders are probably thrilled because that's the case there. And then at the same time, I think the question also is it inventory or is it demand? So if we still have 76% less homes to sell than we did in 2013, and prices have risen dramatically since then, there is probably a strong buyer pool, but they are sick and tired of these high prices for properties that are not so good.
Yep.
And so they're either, sometimes they're priced out, and I don't know that the lending standards are any more severe, Mark would know that, but I don't think they're any more severe than they were last year or the year before.
Well, they kind of are from the TRID rules, which
Oh,
Bob
TRID,
Spinoza
right.
and I have been talking about in prior shows. And if you don't know what TRID is, it's an acronym for something that is meaningless if you're not in the mortgage business. But essentially, last October they added some new disclosure regulations to the mortgage industry that has actually slowed down the pace of new mortgage loan origination, which, again, if you're buying a home and you need to use a mortgage and it's going to take 45 days to close, you're not likely to get that contract. You're likely to lose out to somebody who could have a faster or a non-contingent close. So the mortgage industry has had yet another negative impact on the housing market in terms of ability for regular people, I should say,
So
to
it's
buy a
a
home.
factor, but when you look at the three conflicting headlines, what is really going on? There's buyers are sometimes priced out, or sometimes they're just not interested in paying $2 million for a house that is barely adequate to live in. And the millennials think differently. Some of them don't get their licenses, so they don't buy cars, because when they need a car, they'll take Uber or they'll rent one. So they're not buying houses like they used to either.
Also, that most of them are still living with mom and dad.
Yeah, I
Exactly.
saw that same article.
18
That
and
was last
34,
week. That's
yeah.
right. The 18-34 market, the highest percentage are now staying at home in history. So that's
So
pretty interesting.
everything's different, but the number of sales is down, as it has been last year, as it was the year before. The number of sales is down for many reasons, but it's not that it's a slow season. The market is changing,
Gotcha.
and there's less to sell, but we're still getting multiple offers. It's still a seller's market.
I'll tell you what, if you guys don't mind, let me skip right
Sure.
into the email here. We got the email. Patty, here was an email for you. It says, I think I found a good agent, but another one told me I could get a much higher price. What are your thoughts on this?
Oh, this is a really good question. First, let me tell sellers really sternly, do not ever overprice your property. Because the longer a property's on, the less you're going to get.
Yeah.
And in a seller's market, if you're on for more than a minute, then there's something wrong with your property. Then you chase the market down. So at the same time, if a seller selects an agent based on price, the easiest thing you can do is tell them the price they want to hear.
Yeah.
And you would get it's integrity really, because it's going to blow up. It's a train wreck, right? Light at the end of the tunnel is an oncoming train.
Yeah.
So it takes integrity to really tell the truth about here's what your property's worth, even though you don't want to hear it. And another agent said they could get you more, because you'll lose the listing.
Yeah.
But a smart seller knows that you do not do that. And so, how do you know what
But I can I'm just imagining being that seller and just going, gosh, why wouldn't I go with the agent who says somehow he's going to get me more?
Yeah, and I mean it's usually a newer agent that really doesn't have anybody, or they either don't know the market or they actually know the market and they don't understand it and give it if they want anyway. So, but it's a newer agent that just kind of has to buy the listing. And then, it doesn't matter, they're gonna get some sign calls, they're gonna get some ad calls, they're gonna pick up another listing, and then they're gonna pray that the seller reduces it.
Well, then they come back and they say, well, and we got an offer here, but it's not quite as much as you expected.
Yeah.
And the thing is, and if it's the same price as what the first agent was saying, the seller's going to kind of probably just not, it's no big deal because he's getting the same price.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And a lot of times the seller turns it down because they still have that high expectation. And with a 6-month listing agreement, we're going to be looking at each other at Thanksgiving in this like complete disgust. It won't be pretty. And then
can you ask your broker to, part ways?
oh yeah, but most people think you can't do that because it's a valid contract. It's a listing agreement, but it happens all the time. And I would really, if a seller has seen that they've gotten bad advice, do it.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay, tell you what, we're going to cut to another quick break here. But before I do, you know what? Because I messed up on the last one, I'll tell you what, and in case people decided they didn't understand, they weren't going to call, we're going to ask another question. And again, first 10 people who call are going to get the tickets. All right? But this is for the golf, June 6th, Peninsula Golf and Country Club, and it's a tournament. And so it includes golf and lunch and dinner and cocktail. It's going to be an awesome.
Wow.
Okay.
And they're worth like $350 each.
$350 a piece.
Wow.
Yeah. So what I would like you, the audience, to do is I want you guys to name 2 sports in which speed doesn't really have an advantage. All right. Now, like football, speed would have an advantage, right? But there's a couple of sports I'm thinking of specifically that speed really wouldn't be, and they're kind of major sports. Okay. Oh, by the way, the answer to the other question, because we know people already called. What's the answer about the blue reflector on the road?
Hydrant.
Yes, a fire hydrant. Very good. Okay, so now we're going to cut to our regular commercial break here. Again, the first caller with the correct answer is going to win a free 3-day, 2-night stay at the Lighthouse Resort. And you're going to call 888-912-1190. You're going to use that number for both the golf one and this, right? What drink was originally marketed as Fruit Smack? Okay, stay with us. The Best of Investing will be right back.
I'm thinking about badminton, diving. There's a lot of sports, right?
What's that one
Let's
where
see if
they
I
were
help
on
with
the ice where they
Curling?
Oh
curling?
yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
and I'll pretty much stick, because I'm trying to get rid of these tickets at this point.
Yeah.
I asked him, you don't play golf.
That's
You don't want to waste a full day.
interesting.
I mean,
Yeah, it's a day.
the 2 ones I was thinking of were golf and bowling.
Well,
Oh,
the
right.
speed of the ball. Well, not
No,
really,
speed of
not
the person,
really.
dude.
Okay.
Right.
But
And
even the
that's-
speed of the ball doesn't matter if you can get them all down.
True, that's right.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's not about
that's
that.
right.
It's not on speed. Yeah, it's about
No,
the
sometimes
angle of the
speed
hit.
Yeah,
Yeah.
sometimes speed will actually be bad for you.
Yeah.
Something.
And pool.
I
mean, like
for,
not-
no, for the person,
yeah.
you're right. You're absolutely right.
Pool, yeah. Anyway, so a lot of people are going to win.
Oh, that's the point. He wants to give them all away.
Yeah.
That's nice.
Because what they're doing, one of the reasons they want a lot of people is there's going to be a silent auction afterward.
that's
They're hoping
good.
people will bid on stuff.
Yeah.
No guarantee, but. Welcome back to the Best of Investing. Again, I'm Edward Brown, your host, along with Mark Hahn and Patti Cohen. First of all, on the golf, the 2 sports I was thinking of were golf and bowling. The speed of the person really is not that important.
Ah,
Okay. The answer to our other trivia question: what drink was originally marketed as Fruit Smack?
Mountain Dew,
That makes it Kool-Aid. Kool-Aid was marketed. Okay.
fruit smell.
Fruit Smack. Now I can. Kool-Aid's a lot better name. Okay, Mark, trivia.
Unless you drink the wrong kind of Kool-Aid.
Yeah, exactly. The other one was Fruit Smack you across the face. Okay. Mark, I have heard you say in previous shows that you generally will not make loans larger than or longer than 5 years. Why is that?
Well, so my company, Specific Private Money, we're based here in the Bay Area. We're an alternative real estate lender, an alternative to banks and conventional mortgage brokers. The reason we don't generally make loans of, we don't like to make loans of 5-year loans. We prefer to make 12-month loans or 18-month loans or 6-month loans. That's our choice. It's our specific business model, and it wasn't always that way for us at Pacific Private Money. I've learned over time that, first of all, we charge 10% as a note rate on our loans, and that's a pretty high rate, and that's a hard rate to continue to pay month in and month out, year in and year out. And there is a socioeconomic space of people that don't have alternatives to other than that type of money. And there are companies that market to that. That's their niche. They'll do 9 or 10% interest rate loans, 30-year loans for people that's the market. I just prefer, from a business model standpoint, and my investors prefer from a business model standpoint, to make shorter term loans. One of the reasons why some of my investors prefer to invest in a loan that's going to mature or pay off within, let's just continue to use 12 months as an example, is because it's in a way it's a protection against the cycle of real estate. So we've been talking about how we might be ready to enter into the next cycle of real estate, which in this case would be potentially a downward cycle. And again, real estate, like the economy, like business in general, experiences cycles. That's the nature of it. It's Econ 101. It's how capitalism works. The way we generate new business and the way the flow of money works, it results in a cycle. It goes up, it goes down, it goes up, and it goes down. What we have a difficult time predicting is, how high it's going to go up and how high it's going to go down and when. But when it comes to real estate lending and investing in notes secured by mortgages, many of my investors who are experienced real estate professionals, by the way, and they're the people who kind of joined me at the beginning when I first founded the company in 2008. They told me more often than not, I don't want to be in a long-term real estate loan because I don't know what's going to happen to the real estate market. And even if I'm only lending at 70% loan to value, if the real estate market has a rather brutal correction, I can still be potentially exposed. So really, it's the preference. And I actually have learned and grown to like that strategy. So at Pacific Private Money, we typically are very much interested in what we call the exit strategy from the borrower. So borrower comes and explains to us why they're coming to us for a loan versus a bank, and we want to know, well, how long do you need the money? How are you going to pay it back? And so what we don't like doing is making open-ended loans. Well, I'm going to clean up my credit, and I'm going to make some more money, and I'm going to get a new job, and hopefully, if everything goes perfect, I'll be able to conventionally refi with a bank sometime down the line. That's
20 years.
Right, that's a hope and a prayer, and that actually rarely happens. And when I made mistakes early in my business career in hard money loan origination, loans that I made like that gave me grief over time. I had to struggle to get them out of those high interest loans into something that they could more afford, or they were forced to sell the property when they didn't want to, and that's just not a good thing. And so, while there are lenders out there, alternative lending sources that are a market for people who basically are subprime borrowers, there really isn't much of a subprime market anymore. So those that are doing what we used to call subprime loans, and there are companies out there. They're 6.99%, 7.99, 8.99. They will make you a 30-year loan, and all the while knowing that that there might be a struggle for the borrower to keep the payments up on that. So the long answer to the short question as to why at Pacific Private Money we prefer not to make 5-year loans. We will make them on exception, but really we're famous for our short-term bridge financing,
It's not just the real estate cycle; it's also interest rate cycle, right? I mean,
Well,
potentially, if interest rates been really not going anywhere for 5 years.
Well, right, that's true too. So if you're a savvy, experienced note investor, and you know that 5 years ago you could find a 12% note to invest in, and today that same note is 10 or maybe 9%. Maybe in 5 years it might be 12% again. So it's just there's a lot of nuances to alternative lending, both from the borrower standpoint and from the investor standpoint. So for more information about this, if you're interested in learning more about alternative financing sources and what they cost, or if you're an investor out there and you'd like to learn more about investing in mortgages or mortgage pool funds, which we have both at Pacific Private Money, do go to our website, pacificprivatemoney.com, or give us a call at 415-883-2150 and leave a message.
So, why don't you give us like a deal of the week? Because you gave an answer about a 5-year loan, but I think people are kind of listening and going, "Wow, he's charging 10% interest. What kind of loans is he making?"
Well, I'll answer that in a couple of ways. One was we were talking about a loan application off the air that I had gotten earlier that was that I want to talk about in a little bit because it's related to what we were talking about earlier with Patti about being at the top of the market. But probably the most common loan we do today at Pacific Private Money is what we call a bridge loan for consumers who want to buy their next home. And they want to buy their next home before they sell their existing home. Now, it used to be in a normal real estate market, which maybe we'll have again one day, where we've got sufficient inventory out there and it isn't necessarily a seller's market like it is, or it has been for the last 4 years. It used to be that you could, when you wanted to move, you could go out and find the home you wanted to buy, you'd buy it or get into contract, you'd have a contingency to sell your home first. That is something that doesn't happen very often anymore today. In today's market, most sellers want low or no contingencies on the contract that they accept. And that's just the reality of it. So if you don't want to move twice, in other words, sell your home first to free up your equity, move into an apartment, which you're going to have a difficult time finding because rentals are very, very hard to find in the Bay Area, and then go out and house shop, and maybe it takes you a year, maybe you're making offer after offer after offer and not getting the house you want because you're getting outbid. If you want to avoid all of that and land that contract first, close on the target property, then sell your existing property, your only option is to go with private money financing. Why? Because banks today, more often than not, will not allow you to have 2 mortgages. Now, I know that sounds silly, but I can't tell you how many people call us going, I make great income, I've got a great FICO score, I thought I could easily just go out and buy my next home, and my mortgage broker told me, well, under the new Dodd-Frank restrictions and the qualified mortgage rates and, with all of your front-end and back-end ratios and blah, 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 and all this jargon that you don't understand, they say, I'm sorry, but you don't qualify to have, a 4% mortgage for the, an 80% mortgage to buy your next home. So that happens more often than you think. And so we exist today, in today's market, largely to help people buy that house, that target home that they want. And so we can make you a loan. In fact, we can make you a loan of 100% of the purchase price if you have existing equity in your current home, because we can cross. That's another thing that banks won't do. Banks won't cross multiple properties. Private lenders do that all the time. So again, for more information on how we can help you get the home you want now, whether you want to move up or move down, we work with all kinds of clients. Give us a call at Pacific Private Money at 415-883-2150 or go visit our website at pacificprivatemoney.com.
Great. Okay, we're going to cut to another commercial break. Before we do, I want to make a little mention here for whitewater rafting, the ultimate team sport. Mother Lode River Center has been running river trips from mile to mile on the American River. Got to give them a call at 530-626-4187 or go to malode, that's LODE.com. See you on the river. Okay, here is our last trivia question. In 1961, who was selected as one of Glamour's magazine's 10 best dressed college girls. You'll know the name. The first,
Somebody famous?
somebody famous, yeah. The first
In
caller,
1961.
1961.
Oh,
And she was in
61.
college.
1961. She was in college. The first caller with the correct answer will win a free 3-day 2-night stay at the Lighthouse Resort. Call 888-912-1190 to answer that question. Don't touch that dial. The Best of Investing will be right back.
Wow. It's like 40, 50,
College in 1961.
55 years ago. 56.
Well, it wasn't Hillary Clinton because she's not that old.
So this is somebody that's like 72 or 75.
I guess, yeah.
Gloria Vanderbilt? No, she's much older.
Liz Taylor?
No,
Yeah,
she's
she-
definitely
she-
older.
She's older. She's older. She's even older.
Yeah.
So
70s. 70s isn't that old anymore.
No, it's true. But this is somebody who
70
you, when
is
you
the
hear the
new
answer,
50.
you go, oh, I mean, I can kind of understand.
Yeah, Diane von Furstenberg. Who else?
there's a great full page ad running in like the business periodicals now, like Forbes. It's a guy on a boat. It says 60 is the new 40.
There you
He's
go.
out
So
sailing by
true.
himself. I
Yeah.
just love that.
It's so true.
I know, we're going to be there before long.
I know. I mean,
70 is the new 50.
yeah, exactly. It's really true. It's really true. I
Well,
mean,
we're all
even
keeping
80.
ourselves in decent shape, you know.
I know. I'm
Helps.
thinking 80, like I'm just like on one foot in the grave, but not necessarily. I mean, there are a lot of people that start dropping like flies when in their 70s and 80s, but you don't have to if you take care of yourself.
Well, here's a little factoid. The segment of the population with the fastest growing STDs, sexually transmitted diseases, is in their 80s.
80-year-olds?
Because they're all in nursing homes and they all have like pills and they're all like relaxed and they don't really realize that they could be doing this because we're all so old and
That's so fun.
yeah, STDs all over the place, 70s and 80s. Yeah.
It's kind of scary.
That's just not a visual.
And the men in those nursing homes, oh
Yeah.
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 Oh yeah. I never had so much nookie.
I know. People come in. I don't know. I know. A friend of mine's a therapist, and he said that this woman in the nursing home in her 80s is seeing this 53-year-old, and she's like, "Wow, we have sex all the time. That's my life." I'm just changing the subject here. I don't
So
want
let's
to. Sorry,
let's
guys.
last segment. How many minutes and what do we want to talk
We got
about?
13 and a half minutes.
Oh, it's a long one.
That's
So
enough.
let's. So Patty, what else
Oh,
do you got that we
really?
can talk about?
Mm.
Let's plan this now before we
Yeah.
stumble and fumble our way through 13 minutes.
Okay. How many? 13 minutes?
13 minutes,
I
13
thought
and
it
a
was
half.
over. My God. All right, what are we going to talk about?
Anyway, I've got
Any interesting stories you can talk about? Any? Let me look through my notes here. I mean, I've always got stuff to talk about.
Yeah, some kind of. Well, you know, I was going to piggyback on what you were saying about a story about why you do really want to get that. I'm representing a seller, and the buyer couldn't qualify for, couldn't because he hadn't sold his house yet. So he decided to go non-owner occupied. And what happened was the rental value didn't add up. So he was going to have to put more down, and he has the money, but yet he needs the money to fix up the house.
So tell that story.
That's a
Yeah.
good,
Yeah,
that's a good one.
that's
Yeah.
a good one. Yeah, do that.
Okay,
and then
ready?
and then after you, I got something.
That takes a little
Okay,
bit of time.
I've got a couple of things
Yeah.
to go through here, so I'll take the first 2 minutes or so.
Okay.
Welcome back to the Best of Investing. Edward Brown here, along with Mark Hunt and Patty Cohen. Last trivia question: in 1961, who was selected as one of Glamour magazine's 10 best dressed college girls?
So we were trying to figure this out. We figured she'd be in her 70s today, but we're coming up blank.
Yeah, Jane Fonda's older. Gloria
Yeah.
Vanderbilt's older.
Martha Stewart.
Oh, Martha, of
Yeah.
course.
You have
Okay.
to let me know if someone gets that.
Yeah, I know that'd be interesting. Okay. Okay, so I got a couple of fun things to mention. First of all, and I mentioned this before, there is a bank, a local bank here that is paying 1% on its money market account. You can't find that too often.
Wow, that's great.
So I want people to call the 888-912-1190 and ask, what bank is that? And we'll get back to you. I'm not going to say it on the air, but we will tell you privately. Okay, and then we also have the Yosemite Gold Country Lodge. So Yosemite Gold Country Lodge has been called by guests a hidden gem, a beautiful place and a great place with down-home country charm. So you got to check them out because they got complimentary Wi-Fi and it's equipped with a fireplace and a spa hot tub like that. Complimentary continental breakfast. Call 209-878-3400 or go to ygclodge.com. Okay, we did that one. And the last thing I want to mention is, and this is getting summertime, so we want to talk about a little water. Aqua Adventure Water Park is the City of Fremont's premier family water park. They have a variety of activities for all ages. They got 4 acres, lots of wet and wild attractions. So get set to get wet. That's their name. Check them out at goaquaadventure.com. All right. Now you wanted to tell a story, right?
Well, yeah, I mean, we were talking about why would someone go to a private money lender and pay 10%? Oh gosh, 10%. Well, there's lots of reasons, and very well-heeled, established people use private money lenders. And
Yeah.
an example that just happened when Mark was talking about, a lot of times you're competing for the property, there's multiple offers, and you haven't sold your house yet, you're not going to be able to get a loan, and even if you could, you want to be able to get the property and you want to come in with all cash. So I had a transaction that was about to blow up this week where I represented the seller, and the buyer is going to own or occupy the house. And into the transaction, the buyer's agent asked for an extension on the loan. And why? Well, because he has to prove the rental value analysis didn't come out very well. The appraisers from outside the area, which is always a problem. But what does rental value analysis have to do with it? Well, he can't get an owner-occupied loan, so he's going for a non-owner-occupied loan.
Oh,
Well-
so he's saying to the bank or the lender, hey, I'm buying this as investment property, not
Yeah.
my primary residence.
Right, and of course he's going to have to pay a higher interest rate, but that's fine. They're doing it. So the rental value analysis did not come out as high as he wanted it to, which means he can still get the loan, but he has to put more money down. And the mortgage broker is outside the area, which is a problem. People, please hire people within your neighborhood, except for private money because it's a much different analysis. But your basic mortgage brokers stay within your area, excuse me. Anyway, so that number wasn't coming out the way he needed it. And the mortgage broker goes, that's fine, he has the money, he can do it. Well, he's got the money, but he wants to put it into fixing up the house because there's a lot of fixers out there. So, seller gave a little bit of an extension, but in the seller's market, rarely can you get an extension. And then they asked for another extension because they're going to start with a new mortgage broker. Seller said absolutely not. So at the end of the day, what they're doing, we're closing on time, and they're going with a private money lender. So it's fast, it's streamlined, it works. He's putting enough down, blah, blah, blah. So that's another reason why you would do that. He'll probably flip the house or he'll live in it, but it'll be worth more, he'll improve it, he's got the cash, blah, blah, blah. So when you think about it, it's not just people that are struggling to stay in their house and jobless that are getting a...
Yeah, right.
Actually, that's not the market at all for
It's
private
not.
money loans anymore. It's people with good income and high credit scores use private money at 10% in a couple of points to execute a real estate strategy that otherwise they would not be able to. That's the
Exactly.
whole point.
Yeah.
Another thing I wanted to just bring up real quickly is, kind of we talked about like deal of the week last segment, and it wasn't really a deal. I kind of explained, what type of loans we're really doing now at Pacific Private Money. But I do have a deal that's not really a deal of the week, but it's an example of a little bit of hesitation that I'm beginning to have, and other private lenders are beginning to have in the Bay Area as we're looking at whether or not, maybe are we now kind of at the top of the market, and what do we do about that from a lender's perspective? So I got a loan application in this week, and I didn't get a chance before I came to the show today to get the details of it. I'm going to talk about it in general because the point about the application, I don't need all the details for you to understand the point. So, got an application. Someone was looking to buy a really nicely fixed up property in Los Gatos. Small home, 3-bedroom, 2-bath, about 1,800 square feet. I think the price is a little over $2 million. And he's looking for 80% financing. And we don't do 80% financing, and they realized that before they came to us for the application. So they said, hey, we've got some additional collateral. There were a couple of other homes that we purchased recently, also in Los Gatos, and they've got, both of them have equity, and so if we allow you to cross those other two properties, can you make us this 80% loan? And we haven't decided yet, as of this recording, as to whether or not we're going to do the loan or not. But I have a lot of trepidation about that application for really the biggest reason is Los Gatos, like a lot of cities and neighborhoods around Silicon Valley, have some of the most ridiculous valuations today. And as a lender, I am really concerned about the intrinsic value of the homes there. Now, is it worth $2 million today? Possibly. Is the value of the cross collateral of the other properties that they're putting up with the supposed equity, are those market values, are they real today? Would an appraiser be able to certify those values today? Probably yes on all counts. The problem is I just don't believe that the price per square foot that homes are being valued at in some neighborhoods in Silicon Valley is sustainable. Upwards of $2,000 in some neighborhoods, and some of these properties haven't been remodeled in 30 years. I just, as a lender, I don't want to take that risk. I don't want to risk that something happens in the next, 12, 18, 24 months. And this particular loan application, by the way, was for a 2-year loan. So I am willing to bet that those homes will not be worth what they're worth today in 2 years. And that's just my personal feeling as a lender. So
look back.
Even solving for a 70% combined loan to value, I don't want to take the chance that whatever this guy is doing in terms of collecting properties for, and again, I don't know the backstory quite yet, but whatever he's doing to collect properties, I don't know that he's going to find himself with no equity or potentially upside down these properties in a couple of years. If we have a tech stock market meltdown and all of a sudden you're not paying $2,000 a square foot for a house that happens to be a mile from the Google campus, but now it's trading for a more sustainable market value of $1,000 per square foot or less, hopefully. Let's think about affordability. So anyway, that's just a little bit of blurb, a little backstory there. I think that we probably are seeing the top of the market in many, if not most, Bay Area neighborhoods. Does that mean there won't be any more appreciation over the next 12 to 24 months? No, it doesn't mean that at all. I just think that the rate of appreciation is probably already slowed, and we won't see the evidence of that from Case-Shiller or other indexes for another 60 to 90 days because they're lagging statistical indicators. So anyway, for more information about real estate loans, alternative lending, investments that pay 8% on your money through the Pacific Money Fund, give us a call, 415-883-2150, or go to pacificprivatemoney.com.
And Patti, you'd given us some really good information, but we forgot to ask for your contact information.
Oh, thanks for asking.
No, we
It's
didn't.
Patti Cohn,
Yeah.
C-O-H-N. I'm with Pacific Union International in Mill Valley. I cover all of the Bay Area, and I'm at 415-722-4842, or Patti.Cohn, C-O-H-N, at pacunion.com.
I hear a lot of good things about Pacific Union. In fact, I see some really great ads, and I also hear a lot of good things. You and your fellow agents at Pacific Union, you guys have a lion's share, I think, of some of the great, beautiful listings throughout the Bay Area.
Yeah, we are throughout the entire Bay Area, all including Napa, Sonoma, and we are the only luxury broker that covers all of those areas. And it's a really true sense of teamwork and the most productive agents in the business, meaning that they don't hire new agents. It's just a top team of
So
producers.
that's important.
Yeah, top producers.
So if our
that network.
listeners are, they heard the part about, their old agent giving them, one price and another agent giving them a higher price, would you be willing to take a look at what they have to offer?
Oh, absolutely.
Okay. All right. So again, give out your number so that people can give you a call.
Thank you. It's 415-722-4842. Patti Cohn.
And we've got one more minute to go.
So Patti, when you guys have meetings in your offices, I mean, is anybody really talking out loud about the market slowing, or are you talking about having different price strategies for listing? Is that kind of like a real thing even happening in your offices? I know you've experienced it personally, but is the word getting out?
Yeah, I mean, that's a great question. A lot of what we're doing is networking and, who's got buyers, who's got sellers, and then
Yeah.
we're also talking, what are you seeing out there? And legal issues like buyers removing all contingencies up front. What is that a good idea? But we are seeing the market slow down a little bit. We network with Silicon Valley, San Francisco agents, and things are changing a little.
Yeah. So the point being is that you're not seeing the headlines yet in the news, although a few news sources are reporting a slowdown in the market. Anecdotally, Patty, what you're saying is that out there in the trenches, out there in the front lines, what we're seeing is the market is changing, and what does that mean? Who knows? It just means we're in for a change.
Very good. And again, people can talk to Mark about investing. Right now, your fund is paying how much?
Just a tick over 8% right now, year to date for 2016.
Wow.
And your average loan to value in the fund?
55%.
Wow.
That sounds pretty conservative to me.
Sounds safe.
So what is that? 415-883-2150?
That's the number.
That's right.
Call for more information.
Yeah, you can always go on the Best of Investing website and read all about Mark there.
Yeah, we had our monthly presentation at our office this past week. So the last Wednesday of every month, we do a presentation again from very soft sell. We don't no push, just information only. Check us out.
Yeah, so you can just come to the next Wednesday one, but it's always good to RSVP because we do get filled up.
Oh yeah.
All right, thoughts for the day. In the 1980s, Pablo Escobar's cartel was spending $2,500 a month on rubber bands just to hold their cash.
That's
Wow.
And when the mummy of Ramses II was sent to France in the mid-1970s, it was issued a passport. Ramses' occupation? King. Deceased. All right, tune in next week to The Best of Investing. We're going to be giving away more free vacations for answering trivia questions. Thanks for listening. On behalf of our team, I'm Edward Brown, wishing you the best of investing. So long.
Oh, that was great.
Yeah.
That was so funny. You had some good stuff. God. I'm trying to think of who I know that wants to those tickets.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, if you know anybody who would want a ticket, like for a good client type of thing,
Yeah.
think about it. It's June 6th, and again, it's an all-day thing, so I don't know how many people are willing to. I just don't want people to say, "I'll take it," and then
Oh,
just
and not
show
go.
up.
I
That
know.
would be
It's not pretty.
Yep.